Every year, we as fans look forward to seeing who are going to be the standout players of every season. And there's always a certain particular person that can take home the prize of Comeback Player of the Year. Whether that year before they had injuries, a mediocre season, or not even playing in the NFL due to retirement, there's always going to be a particular person that stands out above the rest in terms of coming back into the NFL. So today, we're going to look at the top 5 candidates for the Comeback Player of the Year in 2017. At number 5, we have Adrian Peterson. For his career, he has 2,418 rushing attempts on 11,747 yards and 97 touchdowns. But just last season, he rushed for 37 attempts and 72 yards with 0 touchdowns. Adrian Peterson will go down as one of the greatest running backs of all time. He's had some tremendous seasons for the Minnesota Vikings, including his 2012 campaign, where he rushed for over 2,000 yards the season after tearing his ACL. But let's just say Adrian Peterson's career has been tumultuous the last 3 seasons. In the 2014-2015 season, he played the first game of the season, ultimately to be suspended for the rest of the season due to some off-field issues. In 2015, he returned to his natural form, rushing for over 1,400 yards, but then the next season only rushing for 37 attempts before joining his buddy Teddy Bridgewater on the sidelines with a torn meniscus. So this is an interesting dilemma we have on our hands. Adrian Peterson is now joining a New Orleans Saints team that also has Mark Ingram as the running back, so this could be the least likely option to win Comeback Player of the Year. But if Adrian Peterson can go strong, rush like he used to, at least to a certain degree before this past season, he could certainly be a number 1 contender to be a Comeback Player of the Year. And if he rushes for a little bit over 1,000 yards, has some good touchdowns, this guy could obviously be a front runner for Comeback Player of the Year. So Adrian Peterson is number 5 on my list. At number 4, we have Justin Houston. For his career, he has 286 tackles with 60 sacks and 3 interceptions. And last season, he only had 21 tackles with 4 sacks. Justin Houston is a tremendous outside linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs. The defense can be very explosive with guys like Justin Houston and Eric Berry and Marcus Peters. But Houston was pretty banged up the last 2 seasons. He hyperextended his ACL, cost him the first 10 games of the season, before finally returning in Game 11, not doing much, and then having a presence in the Denver Broncos game. Here's the thing. For Justin Houston, all he has to do is to stay healthy because this man is an explosive outside linebacker. He can provide anything on the field that you need to do on defense and create terror on the offensive lines. If he plays a subpar offensive line, he's going to have a banger game as we saw in that Denver game last season. If he plays even a good offensive line, he's down to get a certain amount of tackles with a decent amount of sacks in a game. So for Justin Houston, all he has to do is really stay healthy in order to be a candidate for Comeback Player of the Year, and he certainly has the opportunity with that defense this season. At number 3, we have Marshawn Lynch. For his career, he has 2,144 rushing attempts, 9,112 yards, and 74 touchdowns. Marshawn Lynch, to me, is the most intriguing player on this list. Everybody else on this list is either coming back from an injury or had a mediocre season the year before, or a combination of the both. Marshawn Lynch didn't play last year. He's coming out of retirement. He had some pretty mediocre seasons in Buffalo, and had some really standout seasons in Seattle before his final season, the 2015-2016 campaign, being a little underwhelming, and then retiring in the middle of Super Bowl 50. Now he wants to go play for Oakland because that's his hometown. That's his place to be. And considering they're going to move to Vegas to 2 seasons, he wants to get at least 2 more seasons of NFL play with his hometown team. I'm not going to sit here and say that Marshawn Lynch is going to rush for 1,500 yards. I think that's just too much of a demand for a guy that hasn't even played in the NFL in over a year. But the guy's super talented. We've obviously seen his strengths on the field in Seattle. He can bull rush people. He can get monster touchdowns. He could have won 2 Super Bowls if he had rushed from the 1-yard line, but that's none of my business. But the guy obviously was one of the best running backs in the league. And if he even shows 50 to 60% of that running back, this guy could easily be up there for Comeback Player of the Year. I think it's just the most intriguing one of the 5 because it's a different scenario than everybody else on this list. So for Marshawn Lynch, all he needs to do is, because he's going to be the number 1 running back. Latavius Murray's gone. So he's going to be their number one guy to get some rushes, get big third down conversions, play with Derek Carr, which I think is going to be a nice asset. I think Marshawn Lynch could provide something for this Oakland team that wasn't there before. So I think he's the most intriguing pick at number 3 on this list. At number 2, we have Keenan Allen. For his career, he has 221 receptions, 2,617 yards, and 16 touchdowns. 2 seasons ago, in just 8 games, he had 67 receptions for 725 yards and 4 touchdowns. I feel extremely bad for Keenan Allen, more than I feel bad for anybody else on this list. Why? Because the guy has had to go through so much in his career. 2 seasons ago, he was looking like one of the most uplifting receivers in the league. He was becoming a star in the making for the San Diego Chargers at the time. But in the middle of his great season where he had 67 receptions and 725 yards, he got injured with a kidney injury. Weird. And then last season, he was coming back. He was going to restart up all that great success that he had the year before. And then he tore his ACL. So this guy hasn't exactly had the best luck in the last couple of seasons. But Keenan Allen is a top 10 receiver when he's healthy. I'm telling you that right now. This guy is extremely talented at the wide receiver position. And let's say this here, San Diego/LA has not exactly been the most fair to players in the last couple of seasons in terms of their health. A lot of injuries have occurred for the San Diego Chargers, the LA Chargers, whatever you want to call them. And it's been quite unfortunate for Phillip Rivers, considering he's a talented quarterback, but nobody plays for him by the end of the season. But if Keenan Allen can sustain a full 16-game season, that Chargers team could be a lot better than 5-11. I'm telling you that. This guy's really, really talented, a good deep threat, and he can make some big plays whenever you need him to if he's healthy. So I think Keenan Allen is a good pick on this list at number 2. You got to look out for this guy. And at number 1, to the surprise of probably nobody, is J.J. Watt. For his career, he has 379 tackles, 76 sacks, and 1 interception. Last season, he was only able to produce 8 tackles and 1.5 sacks before being taken out in the 3rd game of the season. This man is a straight savage when it comes to playing defense. He is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Should have been an MVP one of those seasons. I'm just saying Aaron Rodgers. But this man is an absolute maniac. He's had 20.5 sacks 2 seasons in his career. Like, are you kidding me? This man is a wrecking crew by himself. And last season, he was out due to having a back surgery on his herniated disc. That was a huge problem for him. But I have no reason to believe that this man isn't going to come back to full form with a great defense in the Houston Texans. We got to remember that the Houston Texans defense is one of the most underrated in the league, and they are going to be an impact come this season. And with the return of J.J. Watt on their side, like I said, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, there's no question this man is going to do some damage for the Houston Texans this season. And he has my vote as the number 1 candidate for the top comeback player of the year in 2017. So if you made it to this point, thank you very much for watching till the very end of the video. I appreciate it. I hope you guys are enjoying the NFL content. This was the top 5 candidates for Comeback Player of the Year in 2017. Check out all of our other great NFL content. Mitch has made a ton of those, including teams that could beat the Patriots, top 5 overrated teams, etc. He's doing some fantasy football videos, so that'll be dope to watch. We're going to have our own Bottom Line View Fantasy Football League, so stay tuned for more info on that. We did do that 2 seasons ago, and now that we're a bigger YouTube channel, we're going to have more people in it this year, so I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I was the winner last time we did this, so that's a good thing for me. But yeah, stay tuned for more content. Thank you guys for 3,100 subscribers. The channel just keeps on growing. That's amazing. And we appreciate the support. So if you guys enjoyed the video, like it. Comment below your thoughts on some players that didn't make the cut. Who do you think should have been on this list if there was any exclusions? And, of course, subscribe to The Bottom Line View for more NFL content, WWE content, NBA content, MLB content, and etc. For Dylan, on The Bottom Line View.